Today's video, I want to delve into a topic that is a little bit deeper. Quite often in these investing videos, I keep them quite lighthearted, almost because I feel like, the more audience the video can reach, the better. Like if we give, 5 simple tips to Pokemon investing, or, top 10 cards of 2023 that you should invest in, or top 10 seal products you should invest in of 2023. You have to change it to 2024 now, of course, but, they sort of appeal to the masses. But today's video is going to go more in depth. So if you're someone that likes to have more in-depth discussions, that's what's going to take place in today's Pokemon investing video. Before we jump into it though, I just wanted to say, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Also, if you've watched some of my previous videos, we've got the membership program up and running, where all you need to do is join up, and you can shoot me an email with your YouTube handle just to show that you're a member. Ask me any sort of questions in regards to your investments and how I might be able to help. So if you haven't done that, please also do so. Today's video, like I said, a little bit more in depth. There's 2 concepts that I want to explore today in the Pokemon card world. One is organic collectability, and the second one is manufactured scarcity. Now, if you've been around the collectible world, not just Pokemon cards, but maybe antique collectibles, or your dad's owned an antique store, or I don't know, something along those lines, you've probably heard those sort of terms before. So it's hard to relate them exactly to the Pokemon card world, but here's my spin on it. So let's give some definitions first, right? So organic collectability is a pretty easy one to define. It is a product that was at its inception, or its creation, or its development, was never intended to be worth money. Like, it wasn't produced at a recommended retail price, so to speak, and made to be held to make money as an investment. It was something just naturally or organically, hence the word organic, over time gained value. So there's heaps of things you could look at. I mean, for example, a table made in 15th century England for King such and such was never intended to be valuable. It was intended to be purposeful, as in he used it to eat his meals off. Now, in the future, if you're a collector of artwork, particularly English artwork and English furniture, and you wanted to own the very table that the very King of England sat at and ate his food at, it's worth damn lots of money. So it has organic collectability. Manufactured scarcity, on the other hand, I think everyone gets that concept, right? Like, pretty simple concept. At its inception, creation, development, it was never intended to be worth money. Here's another example, right? A broadsword from, I don't know, the Spanish Armada, Spanish conquest of the South Americas, was never intended to be valuable, but it was an incredibly useful tool to overtake a country, so to speak. And now, if you had a Spanish broadsword or something, it could well be worth heaps of money. That old school weaponry, maybe a pirate gun from the Caribbean in the 16s or 1700s. Boy, what a cool collection piece that was. Never intended to be worth money. And in fact, 100 years after it was made, someone could have picked it up and gone, well, this is old technology, throw it away, like it's not useful compared to the current handgun that I've got. But now, all of a sudden, those things are worth money. So they have this organic collectability or organic increase in value. Now, manufactured scarcity, on the other hand, is something that's, I suppose, devised, marketed to make the population or the absorber of that content, or the consumer, so to speak, to make it think like it's worth money and going to be worth more money in the future, and therefore buy it. Like, it's pretty much the whole capitalist economy almost these days. And all you had to do was go out Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve and realise that very notion that people thought, if I don't get this, I'm going to miss out on it. Or Boxing Day, if I don't get this, I'm going to miss out on it. Pokemon's only produced a certain amount of this product, so I better damn well grab it. So I think you can see the difference between organic collectability and manufactured scarcity. Now, I don't know if we could argue that any Pokemon cards have organic collectability, but I would like to argue they do. Like the true, I suppose, knowledge holders of the whole collectible and antiques world would say, Pokemon's just a speculation and it's never going to be worth any money and it doesn't have any organic collectability. But I, on the other hand, think it does. And here's my take on it. So manufactured scarcity versus organic collectability. And, these are two terms you've got to watch out for if you want to actually capitalize and make the most money you possibly can on your investments. So let's rewind back to 1999 or even, the year 2000 or 2001. And I was collecting Pokemon cards, of course, like I'm sure a lot of you were. And I've kept 3 of my original cards. I was never lucky enough to pull the Charizard from base set. But I did pull the Blastoise and the Venusaur. And then when Team Rocket come out, I got lucky and pulled the Holo Dark Charizard. So these things have a lot of meaning to me. I've framed them. I pulled them myself when I was little. They're never going to be sold. They're not going anywhere. I would argue, though, when these cards, or when Wizards of the Coast first produced Pokemon cards, they had, yes, it was marketed and everything else, but they had no intention that these things would be worth mega dollars one day. I mean, take, for example, a first edition base set booster box. The whole plan behind a first edition base set booster box was that people would buy that product, they would open that product, they would play with that product, they would tell their friends about how fun that product is, so they would go buy that product, and then they could all play with each other. So the whole idea that was to be opened and used. And now we're left with first edition base set booster boxes being worth incredible, incredible amounts of money because, in my eyes, those products have organic collectability in the trading card world. It was never designed to go up in value. It was designed to be used and play with, but naturally, of course, they got opened. And then we get that scarcity of the product. Like, there is not many of those left in the world. I wouldn't even like to hazard how many first edition base set booster boxes are left in the world, but it could not be many. And you could argue, there's been similar instances of this organic collectability the whole way along. And when was the switch flipped? You could argue just recently. And this is, I suppose, when this concept of manufactured scarcity has come along even more, okay? So let's fast forward, right? All through Gym series, all through Neo series, again, just made to be played with. Base set, you can still buy base set at the same retail price it was when it first came out. Keep fast forwarding through the E series, Skyridge, etc. Same thing. Never intended to be worth money. Then we go into the EX series, okay? Same thing. Never intended to be worth money. You could still buy Fossil booster packs and Jungle booster packs at retail price in 2006, pretty much. Fast forward again to things like Diamond and Pearl era, and even all the way through to Black and White era, and a set like Call of Legends, where these products still, like Pokemon, was still just made to be played with, and no one thought or no one knew the sealed products would go up. And then all of a sudden, they started to, didn't they? And then people started slowly hopping on the train or getting on that snowball effect that Pokemon cards could be worth money in the future. And as did the company that produces them. And this is when we get into, I suppose, the new era of Pokemon cards, where there's this whole manufactured scarcity around a lot of released products. And I don't say this to be negative. I certainly don't say this to be negative because I'm extremely positive when it comes to Pokemon investing. I'm bucking the trend compared to a lot of probably content creators that you hear on YouTube that are quite negative on Pokemon investing, saying this is the junk wax era and it's never going to go anywhere. It's not going to go up in price. I'm the opposite. I'm very positive around it because my game plan is a slightly longer game plan. I don't plan on flipping it in 2 years, and even if it doesn't, it produces such a nice collection. But okay, let's fast forward to this mass-produced scarcity era when we get things like all these new products coming out, like premium collections. Case in point, probably the main one recently is the 25th anniversary Ultra Premium Collection, which has gold base set Charizard, gold base set Pikachu inside it. And people were paying in Australia like $3.99 at release of this product, $399 Australian dollars at release of this product when it hadn't even been out for a day yet. That was this whole manufactured scarcity around the product to say, this is produced in limited numbers. If you don't jump on the train, you're going to miss out. Because if you buy it now, in the future, someone's going to look back and go, this was so rare and it's going to be worth more money. And I suppose I'm saying all these things to just make you be cautious about your purchases when it comes to Pokemon cards. Okay, and just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. And another case in point with Pokemon cards here is ETBs. I think that's another organic collectability for me, almost in the Pokemon card world. So first, ETBs were never made to go up in value. Again, they were made as a new product, put on the market, for people to play with, have fun, open, collect, get sleeves out of it, get card organisers out of it, and heaps of energies to start playing and enjoying the game. It's an elite, it's a trainer box. Like if you want to be the best trainer, you've got to get yourself an elite trainer box. And now all of a sudden we have Plasma Storm, Phantom Forces, XY Base, all those early on XY Primal Clash ETBs worth mega dollars. And there's this scarcity, manufactured scarcity produced around current ETBs, and now the Pokemon Center ETB that's produced in limited numbers. So if you don't get it, you're going to miss out because it's going to go up and someone in the future is going to want to pay heaps of money for it. So I know this comes across as a negative video, and I'm not trying to be. What I'm trying to say is just be careful around your purchases and know that notion. Because what is going to need to happen for you to make money off those products is someone in the future is going to have to pay you more than what you paid for it. So if you bought a Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection at 450 Australian dollars 2 months after it come out because you go, oh, geez, I missed that pre-launch. I missed being able to buy it at 200 or 250. I even missed being able to buy it at 400. But you know what? 450 is a good price. I'm happy with that because you know what? This is a rare product, and in 3 years I'm going to 2x my money. It's going to be worth 900. You know what? Someone needs to pay you 900 Australian dollars for that product in the future. Someone is going to need to go, I really want that as part of my collection, or alternatively, I want that as part of my investment collection because in another 2 years, I could turn my 900 into 1500. So you get my point. There needs to be a buyer for your product. So what does that mean? What's the whole point of this video? The whole point is, if you're hopping on that train before or after it's already left the station, particularly if it's nearly at the peak of the mountain, you're probably too late. There are parts of Pokemon that have organic collectability, and we don't know because what needs to happen in the future is market sentiment towards that product. Like the market needs to want to absorb it and pay for it, and we don't always know what the market's going to want to do in the future. So the whole point around this is, for me, when it comes to buying something, is to really, and I've done plenty of videos on this, is to really drill down a couple of things. One, the price point that you're getting into it. Don't be fooled by manufacturer scarcity and think you have to buy an ultra premium collection at $500. Or the new, what's that set come out with the gold border, like that come out in the Japanese, the gold borders, base set deck. Like, don't feel you need to buy that product at a certain, that is the definition of manufactured scarcity. You're going to be better off buying something like a Paldea Evolved booster box at an extremely low entry point into the market, arguably its lowest, knowing full well that, you know what, that's not a bad set. I'm not saying it's the best set of Scarlet and Violet, but it's not a bad set. It has heaps of depth of chase cards. So drill down and look at those things. Look at the price point you're buying the product at. Look at the chase card, the top chase cards inside the set. Look at the depth of chase cards inside the set, and ask yourself, who's going to want to pay what for that in the future? Because I can guarantee you, you have a better chance of, if someone said to me right now, right, Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection at 500 Australian dollars, or Paldea Evolved Booster Box at 170 Australian dollars, which is like 90 US, which would you prefer? And you know what? I'm going to go the Paldea Evolved Booster Box because I think I've got more chance if I'm buying that at the absolute dip from that going from 170 Australian dollars to 300 Australian dollars in 3 years' time than I do a Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection going from $500 to $900 in 3 years' time. Well, I suppose we delved a little bit more in depth in today's video. Hopefully, maybe it was some new terms to you guys that you haven't heard before. It was probably a little bit more, in-depth video, looking at some more specialized terms in the collecting world. Hopefully everyone got something out of it. 2024, hey, I'm Michael, this is Pokeyos. Catch everyone next time.